In this video, I'll be sharing some of my customized settings as well as the customized menu that I have created so I can easily access them whenever I want instead of digging through the menu one by one and try to find the right one. Now, if you own any of the Canon mirrorless camera, you will know that switching from photos and video is not exactly easy. On the Canon EOS R and the R5, you can switch between videos and photos with mode and then press info, whereas the R7 has the switch on top to toggle between video and photo. But there's actually a really quick way to switch between modes if you don't have the R7, and that is by customizing this button right on top over here, the M function button, which I don't really use that much, to be honest. So if you go to the customized button, you can come all the way down here and find the M function button, and then inside you'll see still and movie switching, and that's what we want it to be on. Now, a little note down here that this is not registered in custom shooting modes, which is between your C1 and C3, meaning no matter which mode you're in, this button will function the way it is, which is switching between still and movie. So once we have that set up, all you have to do now is to press the M function button and it'll switch between still and movie quickly as it is. And yes, it does memorize your previous setting from still or even video. So if you're shooting photos with one type of settings, and you want to switch to video just to capture maybe like a B-roll shot, you can do so as well and then switch back to photo or still mode right away to continue taking your photo. So instead of having to press mode and then info to switch between still and movie, now you can just use one button to do that. Now, another shortcut on top of this is that the C3 movie mode is actually always here on top over here for this record button. Let me explain. So whenever you're in photo mode, or still mode, and you want to record something really quickly, you just press the record button on top, this red dot right here, and your camera will start recording a video right away using the C3 setting that you have customized and saved for video. Let me show you how to save the custom shooting mode. So what we want to do is to customize it and have the right settings, for example, the shutter speed, aperture, and even the ISO. Now you can also pick, for example, if you want to be shooting manual mode or aperture priority mode. For me, I always have it in manual because I personally like to have full control of the camera. And as for C1, currently now I have set up for the street photography photo walk for myself. So whenever I go to C1, it'll be like a photo walk mode, I suppose. So currently I have it set up to 1/60th of a second with the aperture of 7.1 and ISO at 400 with auto white balance, white priority, and I also have it in spot metering mode. Once you have the settings you want and everything customized and set up, all you have to do is go to menu and you want to go to the wrench menu. At page 5, you'll see custom shooting mode C1 to C3. Go in there and then you want to register settings. And this is where you can save the custom shooting mode to C1, C2, or C3 according to your workflow. So essentially I have 3 different modes with just my index finger here. I can have record, I can have photo, and then I can switch to another video mode right away, all within the toggle of my index finger. And that's it. Let's move on to the customized menu, and this is something that I use all the time. It's a great shortcut to have. Basically, if you hit the menu button and all the way to the right, you'll see stars. Well, you'll see 1 star, not multiple stars. Essentially, what you can do here is to add my menu tab and all sorts of menus that you want in here, the one that you use the most often. So on my menu tab, it's actually quite simple here. The first one is for photos, and you can actually name that down here where you can see photos. And the second one is for videos, and the third one is just for simple setups. And the whole point of this is to gather all of the menu that you use most often in one location, so you don't have to dig through the whole menu to find that function or setting. So the very first page, like I mentioned earlier, is for photos. And the first one I have up there is shutter mode because I love street photography, and there will be a lot of time where I want to switch to electronic shutter where you can't hear the shutter sound because I simply don't want people around me to hear the shutter sound and knowing that I'm taking a photo of them. The second one you see here is multiple exposure, where I like to do sometimes once in a while, but this is in camera, which is fun to use too, and something that I don't want to dig inside the menu to find. And the third one is bulb timer whenever I'm taking like long exposure photos. Then down here we have tracking sensitivity. Basically this is under page 3 under autofocus, where you can change different case for tracking your subject. And I find myself using more and more auto because it just works pretty much all the time whenever I set it to auto. And if you set it to auto, over here you won't be able to access the tracking sensitivity. But if you choose between case 1 to 4, you'll be able to adjust how responsive it is whenever it's tracking your subject. Now jumping to my second page, which is everything video related. The very first one is movie record quality. Now I have this all the way to the top because before the firmware update, it usually overheats, and I personally do like to shoot in 4K HQ because it just looks better. But whenever it overheats, I'll have to turn the 4K HQ off and then shoot something else. So that's pretty much the main reason why I have it on here. And it's also really useful too whenever if I want to shoot 8K. Now on the second tab here I have sound recording because I have different microphones that I use. So it's really important to just kind of come here and set up the audio. This way my voice and audio won't clip. And then we have movie self timer, and this is off right now, but if I need to I can do like a 2-second or 10-second timer before the camera starts to record. And then we have time-lapse movie. It's disabled right now, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically it's a time-lapse. Now down here we have the movie servo autofocus track sensitivity. This is very similar to the one in the photo page that I have. Basically locked on is not as sensitive, and responsive it's very sensitive. And I actually do change the settings here depending on what I'm shooting, but normally if I'm making a vlog or video like this, I'll just put it right in the middle. The last one I have Canon log setting, and this is usually just in C-Log 3 like all the time. I've been playing around with like different ones in here, but so far this is the one that I use most often. So it's in C-Log 3, view assist is off. I had it on before, but it doesn't seem to have the right kind of exposure that I was hoping, and it's easier to just have it off so I can know exactly what I'm getting. Now on the third page, this is where I have setup. Over here is actually very simple. It's just 2 tabs. One's battery info. I want to know how much battery I have left because it actually tells you the percentage in here instead of out here where it's just like 4 bars. But what does 4 bars mean, right? So this is where I find out exactly how much more battery I have left. And down here, format card. That's, yeah, I don't want to dig into the menu just to find format card. This way I can just access here and just format it right away. And that's it, quick and easy. So these are some of the customized shortcuts that I have on the Canon R5. It's not everything. There's actually a lot more that you can do. And if you're interested in that, definitely check out this video next where I talk about all of my autofocus setup and different customized settings on the dials and the buttons. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.